Fall is almost over here, but I'm still on a pumpkin kick. So today I'm making sourdough pumpkin bread. What a lovely day to bake. My name is Anna, German hobby baker who's living in Luxembourg. What did you think of my last video with brioche pumpkin buns? I still had some pumpkin left, so I decided to make another recipe to go with it. And this time with sourdough, of course. It just tastes better to me and it's more digestible. The pumpkin keeps the bread fresh for longer and the roasted seeds in the bread give it a great aroma. So let's get started. This is from Luxembourg with Loaf. The evening before we want to bake, we start roasting our pumpkin. Therefore I'm taking here Hokkaido pumpkin and I slice it in two halves, then I remove the seeds and then I cut the pumpkin into smaller chunks. These are going on a baking tray and I have already preheated the oven to 200 degrees Celsius, that's 392 degrees Fahrenheit, and they will bake now for about 25 minutes. After 25 minutes they are looking like this and they can rest overnight in the fridge. I'm also preparing my levain, therefore I have my active sourdough starter and then I'm combining 80 grams of flour with 80 grams of water and then I'm taking like a tablespoon, that's about 5 grams of sourdough starter. Mix everything together and then I mark the height with a rubber band and this will stay overnight on my countertop. And then what you can also prepare are the toasted pumpkin seeds. You can do that the day before or the morning. At least you have to cool them down before using them in the dough. I'm here taking 100 grams of seeds and I will basically heat them up in a pan until they're kind of smoking and a little bit brownish, and they will cool down. And then for my main dough, we're using 800 grams of flour as well as 500 grams of water. Then we need our levain, we need the toasted pumpkin seeds. I have mixed my pumpkin, so I'm taking 190 grams of puree and then 60 grams of salt. Then the water goes into my mixer as well as the flour. Don't worry about my mixer because I have baked my pumpkin buns before, that's why it's still a little bit dirty, but that doesn't matter. So I'm adding the levain as well as the pumpkin puree. And once it's been done, we can start the mixer at a low speed. And this will now mix for about 10 minutes. I have forgotten to say that we should not add the full amount of water. I need a little bit for adding the salt, which I have done now, and then I speed it up the mixer for about 5 minutes. After about 50 minutes in total, we add the pumpkin seeds, and now I'm reducing the speed of the mixer, else all these beautiful seeds would be broken. After a minute of mixing, this looks fine, so we're doing a little window pane test to see if the gluten has been developed nicely. Maybe I have a little bit too much, but it's still fine. I'm placing the dough in a greased plastic container and this will rest for 30 minutes. Then it's time to do our first set of coil folds, therefore I pull the dough up and I fold it over. And then I rotate the bowl and doing exactly the same thing again. Then I rotate the bowl again, 90 degrees this time, and then I'm doing a last coil fold. I'm repeating now this process in total 4 times, each 30 minutes. So after 30 minutes it's time for the second set of coil folds. And in this first 2 hours of the dough, the gluten network can develop quite nicely, and that's why I'm doing these coil folds. Let the dough rest another 30 minutes and then we do the third set of coil folds. You should see and also feel now the difference in the dough. Doesn't stick that much anymore, so the gluten has been developed quite nicely. And after another 30 minutes it's time for our final coil fold. After 3 to 4 hours, the dough has had some time to ferment and is a little bit bubbly. And then we dump dough on the countertop. I have put some flour to prevent the dough from sticking, but just a little bit. I'm also like sprinkling a little bit flour on top, and then I'm using the dough scraper to divide the dough into 2 portions. Then I'm trying to get some tension in the dough, and I'm folding here some round dough balls with my dough scraper. And then I'm sprinkling also some flour on top, because I want to work with the surface. And then I'm taking some pumpkin seeds, because I think pumpkin seeds on a pumpkin bread would be really nice. I'm sprinkling some flour on my countertop, and then I'm rotating the dough piece, and then I fold it together with my hands and basically try to stitch the edges. I have already put some flour in my Benetton, and then I transfer the dough into the Benetton, and then I'm giving them some final stitches. And then I'm repeating the process with my second dough ball. So fold the edges together, some pumpkin seeds, and then that will be placed in the Benetton. You can seam the edges. This will add some more tension. And then I'm using the remaining pumpkin seeds and place that on the bottom of the loaves. I'm now covering them with a plastic wrap, and this will ferment overnight in my fridge. At the next day, it's time to bake these beautiful pumpkin loaves, and I'm placing them here on some parchment paper. And I have a wooden board below, and this will slide into my oven quite nicely. I am using a pizza steel in the oven, which I have preheated to 250 degrees Celsius. That's 482 degrees Fahrenheit. And then I'm scoring the loaves with a sharp razor blade in a 45-degree angle. And then I'm sliding these loaves into the oven. I'm using the same setup as in my previous videos. I will put a link on the top right corner. And then I'm also adding some hot water in a baking tray, which creates some steam. I'm closing the oven, and this will bake for 15 minutes. And then I'm removing the steam tray as well as the additional steel. And then I'm reducing the temperature to 220 degrees Celsius, that's 428 degrees Fahrenheit, and I will bake them for another 30 minutes. And look at this really nice final result. Really gorgeous. They sound good. So they can cool down now for a couple of hours. So let's have a look inside. Wow, what a nice open crumb. That looks really, really nice. Let's enjoy some more impressions. You have this beautiful ear. So the really nice crumb, you see some blisters, so it is like longer fermented, and this has been risen pretty nice, and the crumb is really gorgeous. Big holes, this is what you want in a sourdough bread. Bon appetit, enjoy! I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, you can also add pumpkin spice to the bread. Cinnamon, ginger, cloves, allspice and nutmeg go really well with it, and it would make it even more aromatic. If you want to make this bread a little more prettier, please have a look on my pumpkin bread recipe from last year, where I showed you how to shape bread into a pumpkin shape. If you want to support me and my channel, please like this video, subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss my next videos. Thanks. I wish you a great day. Adieu and goodbye.